correct dimension while chanting. When Papa said we are chanting the name of one who is within us, who is making us to chant, probably many of us may not be very clear about it. So when he wanted us to go to the roots, it is something, we are not searching for anything outside. Our own roots. Papa says, the path to the source of your and the world being is not without. That means not outside. You have to go within yourself. You must go past your senses, mind and intellect, and must travel beyond your ideas and ideals. You must transcend all limits, conditions, tastes. Then alone will you have the fullest vision and realization of your immortal root. This immortal root is also the root of all that exists, the visible and the invisible worlds, and all beings, creatures in them. Now you realize that one common existence has evolved with a variety of manifestations observed all around you. You have to think. In one word he says, life can be understood only by going to the very root of it. And the root is ever sweet and eternal. On another occasion, Papa says, go to the root of your existence, realize yourself, then your whole life and outlook will be transformed. If we do not achieve this goal, we live a life no better than of animals. To turn away the mind from the vanities and ephemeral interests of the passing world and meditate on the divine, which is the root of all existence, is indeed to attain absolute peace and freedom. You have to go within yourself. The supreme divine principle at the root of the universal manifestation is one. From this eternal source have sprung all creatures, beings and things. Again, from this source alone have emanated the various forces that produce kaleidoscopic changes in the phenomena of nature. The creative and destructive forces alike issue from this great origin. In fact, they are the two aspects of the same power, seen from different angles. God is the very source of our life. We have come from Him, we are going back to Him. We have not come into existence without having a cause behind our life. And the supreme cause is God, the source of our being, the root of our existence. We are now trying to compile what all Papa has said about this root. Then it becomes very, very clear. So when we take to chanting of God's name, it becomes very clear. We are trying to understand the root of our existence, and even the capacity to understand is given by the truth. This is the double gain we have. The moment we become aware of the root intellectually first, for intellectual assimilation, we can go back to the oft repeated quote of the Any fruit plant, which we have seen. For example, a mango tree or a coconut tree. The coconut tree comes from a seed coconut. That seed coconut has come from another tree. That tree has come from another seed coconut. That seed coconut has from another tree. So which is the first seed coconut? Our intellect cannot understand. When we take up anything and everything, any vegetable that we consume, there should be a seed, When you go to a shop and ask for vegetable seeds, it gives a clear picture. That seed has come, the one which is sold in the shop. If we plant it, it sprouts. But that seed has come from another plant, and that plant has come from another seed. That seed has come from another plant. So, which is the first seed? We are speechless. Similarly, we apply to human beings. We are born to our parents, they are born to their parents, they are born to their parents, they are born to their parents, and then so where from the first cause? Which is the first cause? Our intellect cannot grasp. So when we know we cannot travel with the knowledge available, then we go to the Shastras. Shastras, it has not come from anywhere. It has also been given to us by a realized soul or a group of realized souls. Whether it is Upanishads, whether it is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So they were able to plumb deep within, and they declared that the first cause or the seed or the source is that subtle and mysterious power. From that source, everything has emanated. All creations. In Bhagavad Gita, in 7, 8 slokas, he says, Charam and Acharam, both moving and non-moving, just come from me. So though we may not have any clear-cut idea about the word God, still placing our faith in the words of our masters and the scriptures, we try to understand. So he is my origin. And one thing I know, I was not there when I was conceived. That is clear to me now. The sense of individuality was not there when the mother conceived us. And the period in which I was in her womb, the same power has also given all these 200 organs with which I am shining as an individual. I have not done anything. And then when I came, all that is needed for my basic existence, it has also been provided by the same power in the form of Mother Nature. When I started growing, I started demanding one by one creature comforts, which also I did not do, but the same power prompted its creation to bring out one by one. That we get the clue from the next line of the same sentence. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam viddhi partha sanadanam buddhir buddhivatamasmi tejas tejasvinamaham. It's a wonderful explanation. Buddhir buddhivatamasmi. I am the intelligence of the intellect. All creature comforts have come from intelligence. So that was also provided by him. He says, I am the intelligence. Suddenly I realize I have been thinking about me as understood by me. When Papa said that the word is, try to enter into the mysterious origin of your and world life. Next line he says, to know who you are in reality is the real quest. So far I have been understanding myself as so and so. I have an image about myself and I am projecting that image. I have totally identified with that image. Very difficult, concretized, very difficult to understand, because that concretized image in me does not allow me to go to the back. But now at least, with the help of our Guru, we have started realizing we are not what we assume ourselves to be. Because when the projected me and mine is playing, we don't entertain any idea about our roots. Only when we view it as a witness, then we will be able to go deeper into it. And then the roots. Even if we intellectually understand all these, get ourselves convinced, everything is all right, but still, because the image that we have in us is so much firm in us, concretized in us, it is difficult to enter into the realm of arena of experience. So just because we read this, we cannot, 100% we cannot. Immediately after that, the identified personality comes again. But now we know the purpose of Papa asking us to chant his name is to keep on boring, drilling inside. And the opaqueness will be gradually turned into translucent state, and then finally to the transparent state. Now we are not aware of him at all. So when Papa said you go within, by within he must have meant only this. An effort should be made to make a big hole there, so that we can see from there. It's the toughest job. That is why when we said, in 2 years' time he could scale the heights, we have been chanting for decades now, but still we don't feel we are anywhere near to it. Because with all said and done, we have been searching him for him outside. You will be surprised that Papa has talked to us. Tomorrow I will give you the count. So many when we started compiling. Book-wise we are compiling now. From which are all books, he emphasizes this. Limitless, I tell you, limitless. So this dimension is very important for us. Probably to understand this dimension, he made us to go through so far whatever we have been doing. If it was told to us, we will not be able to understand. So he made us to go through all these decades with whatever concept we had about him. And now probably he felt the stage has come for us to understand the real core of our being. Previously when we were reading, we were intellectually trying to understand, but it was not helping us to go within. Because the root is very important. Everybody knows only because of the root one exists. Fundamental thing. And those who have been associating with agricultural operations or plantation operations, they can easily understand this. As yesterday we were telling, a seed coconut is planted. We take a 3 feet into 3 feet into 3 feet pit, remove the subsoil, fill it with surface soil, manure, mulches, and then place this seed coconut. Before we plant, the seed coconut is placed on a ground where the seed is tickled and kindled by proper, watering, nursing. The sprout comes out before planting. Immediately after the sprout comes out, in certain cases they wait for 1 more year or 2 more years. It takes a lot of time to sprout. And then in this 3 into 3 into 3, we place it, fill it with earth, again keep on manuring. If it is extreme heat, we protect it. Watering, manuring. With that, we have to do it for 7 to 8 years minimum. Then it starts growing, flowering. Economic bearing starts from 12th or 13th or 15th year. When we say economic bearing, normally the optimum production of a coconut is 100 to 125 nuts a year. And it stays for 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. Just imagine. How many nuts? 50 or 60 into, say on an average, 50 or 60 you can put. 1 seed coconut. So the self-propagation also takes place. We don't have to buy again and do it. That coconut tree itself will give us the seed coconut. And when it is planted, if we are careful in watching it, of these 12 or 13 or 14 years, you can see the roots, not the tap root, the feeder roots. And the stem slowly thickening itself. And then the thatches, the branches come out, how strong they are. And then the flowering takes place. And then the pollination takes place. Then the fruition comes. Again another 1 year nearly. It becomes a ripe coconut. In the tender coconut also people use it, but it's limited use, not matured use. But in this tender coconut, fully mature, coconut oil also is there. So now coconut oil, coconut kernel, what do you call the shell, coir, thatches, branches, stem, root. If you take the tender coconut, this has no relation. In its appearance, we will not be able to relate. But everything has come from this seed coconut. So suddenly we get some clarity. If he is the root for all, why this various types of manifestation, creation? Yes, now Papa's quotation, the world we live in is a school in which observation and experience offer us immense possibilities for self-improvement. Nay, the world itself is Guru or God. So we start observing keenly, We get some clue about these multivarious characteristics of the creation. Because we have seen coconut oil is different from the kernel. Kernel is different from it's the shell, no, very hard. Shell is different from the coir that covers it and the outer cover. And it is held, I don't know what you say that, no? There is one which holds this fruit. From that only we pluck. That is different from this. And it is different from the branch, different from the thatches. Even the thatches, there is one stem for every leaf that was previously used for broomstick. Everything is different, but all coming from same. So we now start slowly recognizing out of one, so many varieties also can come. That gives us the feeling, oh, I am different from you, you are different from me. We are different from animals, animals are different from us. Animals are different from insects, insects are different from animals. Like that, we start. Then we are different from the plant kingdom. In plant kingdom, there are so many types. And then when we come to the inert insentient, rocks, mountains, lakes, all planets, 5 Panchabhutas, each one is distinct. Then we understand from Taittiriya Upanishads, it has all come from him, all come from him. Having different characteristics. Space is not like air, air is not like water, water is not like fire, fire is not like earth. Sorry, water is not like earth, earth is not like trees, trees are not like fruits or food item, that is pulses. And from these pulses came food, from this food came human being. The that is why Swami Ranganathanji always used to use this wonderful word. All the Shastras are verified truths. To us, they are verifiable truths. So that nothing is thrust upon our throat, dictum or dogma. Unless and until it is verified by us, it will not become ours. However much we have read and mastered this, unless and until we verify ourselves, it will not become ours. So with all the data given to us of our root, by placing before all these things before us, because I may not be able to understand the root by myself, but when I see a root and the different characteristics, probably that might give me some more clarity, which will enable me in my journey, inward journey. So when I start the inward journey, the only vehicle I have got is the thought. So in order that the thoughts do not take me out, Papa says you concentrate on the chanting. When we keep on concentrating on the chanting, especially mental chanting, and we try to remember the mental chanting, that process helps us to arrest outgoing tendencies of the mind. Because I have to hear my own chanting. And when that stage comes, the witness consciousness, that is, we know that we are chanting. So we are asking ourselves, who is now chanting, who is now knowing? At that process, will enable us to know the source from which the thought comes, the sound comes. Papa beautifully puts that word, no? Sound is the first manifestation of the motionless. If the motionless, the soundless substratum is not there, it cannot come. So slowly Papa is leading us. to the root, to the root. Our root, we know it's from our thought.
Swamiji, it would be good if we recount all these things, recollect all these things before we start chanting.
Before we start chanting?
You should remember all these points. You should recollect all these points.
We do some manana on this, okay? We do some manana, and then when we start chanting, Papa has given us 2 keys to open. One is He is within me. Now, so far when we say He is within me, we were not clear. Now it's become slowly, somewhat clear. And next one He says, He is making me to chant. So clearly there is a division between the power who is motivating and the entity that is chanting. So the root, cause, and the manifested one. So this will definitely add. So during our past moments, if that we can try so that what Papa achieved might be the same for us later. He sat side by side with the chanting. He was doing all this. That stage for us it will be difficult because for years together, for decades together, we have started learning to chant. So it will be difficult in the initial stages to bring in all these dimensions while we take up chanting. So we try now, I am chanting the name of one who is within me, who is making me to chant. So we keep on drilling this, and probably the impact of which will remain with us while we take up chanting. And during
these 2 points are the most important.
These 2 points are most important.
Most important, very, very important. Though Papa told us all these things, we did not understand. This was mentioned in God experience, everything was there, but we did not understand, Because not that it was not there. Even if we have gone through, we would not have been able to understand it. So then, one day He made us to land on these words. And we brought out a small book called Chanting is the Password for Divinity. In that, clearly all these were brought out. 3-4 years back, on 31st December, when we have that special session, we thought, it would help us. So there, he keeps on mentioning about it. And one more thing, he specifically said, if we think we are chanting, even if we repeat for 100 years, we will be like this. So that means, I should keep on hammering myself that I am made to chant. That is, He is making me to chant. If this is not there, bluntly He says, for years to come we may be doing it, but we will be in the same. So we are, this is, Papa has written in the book, one devotee says,
this will be a small stepping stone.
Stepping stone, small. This will be a
this is the touching stone, exactly. This is the touching stepping stone. We should, when he said that you must have the right conception, kindly. There are many who are doing sadhana. They
do not know.
They do not know why they are doing it. Their conception of God is very limited and narrow. They must have in the first place a right conception of God before they try to attain Him. That also we read, we did not understand what he meant. What is the right concept? Now it is becoming somewhat clear, still hazy, somewhat. But the concept is, I should know he is the root. He is the root of my existence. So in this particular
one small observation.
Once more can we hear that?
there are many who are doing sadhana. They do not know why they are doing it. That means Guru has asked us, we are doing it. They do not know that they are chanting the name of one who is within. They do not know that the root we should be conscious of. So he says, they must have in the first place a right conception of God before they try to attain Him. It's a wonderful statement. So that is very important.
Swamiji, this gives us the feeling of nearness. Otherwise, we chant the God who is far away, God who is somewhere.
Otherwise, if this is very clear.
This is very clear.
Far away.
Correct.
Otherwise, we think God is far
Even
away.
when we have read it many a time in the satsang, many a time we have read this. I think it must have been 15 years back. 14 or 15 years back, when we wanted to have this hall with Papa's words. Mysteriously, he has led us to this quotation. Whatever boards we have, this was all put up in 15 years back. At that time, from his various books, there are about 20 to 25 books by Papa himself or by somebody has compiled. So in so many places, but he directed us to this particular one. This is essential. This is the stepping stone. You must have the right concept. But though it is there, it has been there. Many of us or most of us who have come to ashram, they would have made a round. Somebody would have taken, many people have taken photographs. Many people have jotted it down. And that is why now we keep it in our computer. Anybody comes and asks, we give them this. So that at one point, when the clarity comes, the fusion takes place. Just as a cow keeps on, during its grazing moments, it keeps on collecting all the grasses and putting it inside. And later on, when it is back to the Goshala, the mastication comes up. One by one it takes out and then make it digestible. Similarly, when all these things are available, as sadhakas or spiritual aspirants, we try to gather as much as possible. And when we sit at the appropriate time, he will make us to remember this. 100% sure. We are quoting from experience. 100%. And once more, we will read this particular portion because it is necessary. We must have heard it many a times. Devotee asked Papa. Papa has written in the book In the Vision of God about a sadhu who did not find joy even though he had repeated God's name for 30 years. Papa replies, because he was repeating the name with the feeling that he was doing it. Let him repeat like that for 100 years, still he will remain the same. So the devotee immediately asks, it is by God's grace that one starts repeating the name. Papa answers, but that he must feel it, no? He goes on repeating day by day. He looks down upon one who is not repeating. I am repeating 20,000 times a day. I fasted. I went to solitude. I saw so many saints. He takes pride in it. People praise him. He gets puffed up. The bandicoot is inside. Even if he repeats Ram Nam lakhs of time, he cannot improve. This has been recorded, These were the words Papa shared during the satsang in Panchavadi, the contents of which were noted by Swami Krishnananda Das. And then he brought it out in two books called God experience 1, God experience 2. These were appearing in the vision initially. And then it came out in the form of 2 books. Precious teaching. Especially when one is finding it difficult, in spite of my doing, I am not seeing the result in me. Still I find he remains to me as a concept, not as a reality. Still he gives me the feeling of insufficiency. Still he feels he is separate from me. So I should find out something. So initially we all pass through that stage. But here Papa has put everything from the standpoint of not only from the standpoint of a realized saint, but also from the standpoint of a sadhaka. That is why he said even if he repeats Ram Nam lakhs of time, he cannot improve. And 4 years back, when on 31st December, when there was a good gathering, one day before that he gave us the prompting to bring out a book on this chanting. And then he made us to go to various books and then collect this. And in 2 days' time we got it printed and it came from Bangalore. And exactly at 31st December, up to midnight, 12 o'clock, the chanting was going on. And immediately after that, one message has to be delivered. So at that time we read out this. And it was distributed. It has gone to so many people, but it must be lying as a book. So even if it is made available to us, unless His grace is there, we will not look into it. So now we all take it, that He is now taking us, holding our hand from stage to stage, and that is why we find some light in it. When you said, it's a stepping stone, it's a light. Previously we would have read this many a time, shared this many a time. At that time this feeling would not have come. Like so many quotations we are sharing every day, this also must have come and gone. But today probably the dent impact is more, because He made us to move from some stage to some other stage. We are not held up in the same stage, and then reading and forgetting, hearing and forgetting. To reach that stage itself is difficult, agreed. Instead of going elsewhere during that period, at least first He prompts us to sit for 1 hour or 1.5 hours and then hear this. And then at that time it will not strike. But then at one particular moment He causes it for the fusion to take place. That means the inner aspiration and the outer pouring gets fused. Think. So two things are there. Not only that we are getting clarity about it, one more thing is becoming clearer and clearer, that He is holding our hand, leading us, guiding us. That is a real positive impact. Otherwise, how can He make us to land on this very important thing called the root of our being? After sufficiently spending a lot of time in Papa's thoughts and whatever discipline he has prompted us from within. Think. Very, very, very important. Every human life is capable of understanding and realizing this great secret origin from which it has evolved and manifested. Human life is a rare gift of God. It can be elevated to the highest eminence by making it dwell in a supreme and all-powerful consciousness in order to produce results beneficial to itself and to the world at large. Every human life is capable of understanding. Another assurance, No, only we cannot do it. He assures us every human life is capable of understanding and realizing the great secret origin, mysterious origin, from which it has evolved and manifested. The moment life is illumined with the knowledge of its omnipotence and immortality, it stands revealed in all its glory, armed with a subtle and invincible strength and power that counteracts evils and establishes righteousness in the world. As the single seed sprouts and grows into a variegated tree, so from the one immutable, infinite, original source has come forth the countless worlds and the creatures that make up the universe. As the single seed sprouts and grows into a variegated tree, just now we applied our mind, on the coconut plant, coconut tree. The journey from the seed coconut to the full-grown tree. As the single seed sprouts and grows into a variegated tree, so from the one immutable, infinite, original source has come forth the countless worlds and its creatures that make up the universe. Real beauty of expression of life principle is in originality. Originality has its root in the inspiration from the eternal truth of the individual existence. We are just reading a few lines from Papa's different books. Every object that we see is caused by something else, is it not? There is nothing you see that is not caused by another. But God is causeless. Uncaused cause, as someone put it. Or the first cause. Uncaused cause. A cause which is not subject to cause and effect theory, From that the cause and effect theory started. In Kenopanishad, he says, that with which the eyes see, which the eyes cannot see, that which, because of which the words come out now, but by words it cannot be expressed. Know that I am. Know that is Brahman. To utter this word, there should be a cause. But that cause is causeless, Because we cannot pursue, the thought cannot enter. So the cause and effect starts only from the thought level. And the thought owes its origin to that base. There is only one God who is the originator of us all, and we are His offspring children, or manifestation of the one supreme reality. From the original silent spirit, first arose the sound. And this sound is the cause of the entire universal manifestation. Omityekaksharam Brahma. No? Which chapter, any idea? Huh? Chapter 8. 8th chapter. Which so? Omityeka. Yataksharam Veda Vido Vadanti. Omityekaksharam Brahma Vyaharan Maam Anusmaran Yaprayadi Tejandeham Sayati Vaja Sarvadvarani Samyamya. Okay. ഓമിനേകാക്ഷരവുമായ ബ്രഹ്മത്തെ കുറിച്ചത്. ഓമിത്യേകാക്ഷരം. Somewhere he says he is the sound. Om is the
syllable, sound symbol.
Ah.
Is in seventh chapter.
Eh?
Seventh chapter, sloka number 7 or 8, something is it. Seventh chapter, something. Symbol, Om is a symbol. Seventh chapter lo symbol, Om sound symbol. Fourth to seventh, in between it is slokas. Seventh chapter.
സൂത്രേ മണിഗണ ഇവ പുണ്യോ ഗന്ധ ജീവനം സർവഭൂതേഷു ബീജം മാം സർവഭൂതാനാം ഫലം ബലവതാം നൈവം ദേവീശേഷ മാം ദുഷ്കൃത്തിനോ മൂഢാ ചതുർവിധ ഭജന്തേ മാം തേഷ ഉദാര സർവൈവത്തെ ജ്ഞാനീയാസ്തി ബഹൂനാം ജന്മനാമന്തേ വാസുദേവ സർവമിതി യോ യോ യാം യാം തനുർഭക്തിയ അവ്യക്തം വ്യക്തിമാപന്നം വേദാഹം ഇച്ഛാദ്വേഷം. No, not like that. Okay, anyway, it's all right. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. We'll try to locate. So he says, from the original silent spirit first arose this sound. And this sound is the cause of the entire universal manifestation. The sound is nothing but a wave that rose on the bosom of the pure, still, calm, silent, all-pervading spirit of God.
7.8.
Huh?
7.8.
7?
7.8. 7th chapter, 8th sloka.
പ്രണവം സർവവേദേഷു. പ്രണവം സർവവേദേഷു. ശബ്ദവും ജലത്തിൽ രസവും സൂര്യചന്ദ്രന്മാർ പ്രഭയും വേദങ്ങളെല്ലാം ഓങ്കാരവും. പ്രണവം, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ഓങ്കാരം. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് ദേർ. ആകാശത്തിൽ ശബ്ദവും. I am the first sound in the space. Eighth sloka in 7th.
That is they are talking about Omityeka Aksharam.
No, this when Papa says first arose this sound, from the original silent spirit. From the original silent spirit. From the original silent spirit. First arose this sound. That is why Papa wanted us, when we chant God's name, he said, ultimately it is to still the mind. We are chanting the name ultimately to still the mind. He said specifically, it is in the stillness that you know and realize God. So here he says, from the original silent spirit first arose this sound. No, this one. Stillness of the mind is essential. Now when we read this, probably we might get more and more clarity. Utterance of God's name is to make the mind ultimately still, free from all thoughts. In that stillness it is that you know and realize God. Bhajan, Kirtan, Namasmaran are all means to that end. You have to repeat, chant or sing the name, no doubt, for a certain period. After that, repetition must cease. Mind must become perfectly still. In that stillness, duality is transcended. Repeated and the repeated, devotee and God become one. Go on repeating Ram Nam continuously without any break. The method of approach through sound has been found to be the easiest. As soon as the mind is absorbed in it, we rise higher to the state of superconsciousness, where there is absolute soundlessness. As soon as the mind absorbed in the chanting, the sound. Please, all these things can be tried during our inward journey. As soon as the mind is absorbed in it means the sound. As soon as the mind is absorbed in the sound, we rise higher into a state of superconsciousness where there is absolute soundlessness. The sound that you hear is what comes out of that infinite silence. The sound that you hear is what comes out of that infinite silence. When we repeat the mantra aloud, we tune ourselves to the sound produced by it. Once again, when we repeat the mantra aloud, Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, we tune ourselves to the sound produced by it. And through the sound, we enter into the perfect stillness within us. So the sound must possess us. The sound is the first movement of the motionless. So in Bhagavad Gita, as well as now from Papa's words, from the original silent spirit, first arose that sound. And this sound is the cause of the entire universal manifestation. From western side we heard, what bang? Big bang. Sound. They also say the whole thing has come from that big bang.
Sound of silence. Sound of silence. From silence to sound.
So first we hear the sound. So through the sound he say,
And that is why it is called Nada Brahma. Is that so?
Yeah, Nada Brahma. No, what we are watching ourselves is our path becoming more and more clear. We are not worried about so many words and terminologies, but every time are we getting a little more clearer, so that when we take to this, when we hear any sound, not merely Ram Nam, with Ram Nam we try to understand this, so that any sound we hear, we must be able to realize that it is coming from the soundless. This also Papa clearly says. We must be able to hear this music in all sounds. So from the original silent spirit first arose this sound, and this sound is the cause of the entire universe. The sound is nothing but a wave that rose on the bosom of the pure, still, calm, silent, all-pervading Spirit of God. And this sound wave is the universe we see before us. This is according to the ancient Hindu scriptures. The creation that we see before us is really not a creation, but only a projection from the Spirit. So it is not different from God. Just as the wave rising from the sea is not different from the sea. The same water of the sea is in the form of the waves. The moving wave is water, and still sea is also water. So the pure, still, calm, silent, all-pervading Spirit is He, and the vast manifestation, which is a wave that arose from the sea of silence, is also He. Hence, the assertion is made by the great sages of India that the world itself is Brahman. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Verily, all this universe is Brahman. Om, he says, Om is the original first wave of sound that started from the bosom of the infinite, silent, motionless, attributeless Brahman. This primeval principle of manifestation connotes three aspects of existence, namely creation, preservation, destruction, which are represented by the three letters Akara, Ukara, Magara, A-U-M, which, when attuned together, produce the single vibration of the sound Om. So it is rightly held that Om is the root principle from which all the manifested worlds are born, in which continue to exist, by which are ultimately destroyed. We remember during our North Indian trip, when we were in Gujarat, in one place we were told we should go there, and they have got Akhandaram now. But as soon as we stepped down, somebody came and whispered into our ears, please don't say Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Only say Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Okay. So we started doing and we were thrilled because so many people round the clock, on turns, they come and do that. But when we came out, we asked them why Om. No, Om itself is independent. Om cannot go with her. That is their. Papa has added Om. Papa was also charmed by Swami Ramtirtha. Swami Ramtirtha had elaborately discussed about Pranava Mantra in that book series, In Woods of God Realization, where the Ramtirtha Foundation has compiled all his talks delivered abroad as well as in India, where he has given topmost priority preference for Om. After reading that and assimilating that, though Papa started chanting Ram, Ram, Ram. Then he switched over to Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Then he added Om to Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. That is why we are all chanting Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. But at the same time, he recognizes the importance of Om by itself. That's why he has written, Om is the original first wave of sound that started from the bosom of the infinite, silent, motionless, attributeless Brahman. This primeval principle of manifestation connotes three aspects of existence, namely creation, preservation, destruction. A-O-M. These three, one is opening, one is middle, and the other one is closing. So he puts it as creation, preservation, and destruction, which are represented by the three letters A-U-M, which, when attuned together, produce the single vibration of sound Om. So it is rightly held that Om is the root principle from which all the manifested worlds are born, in which continue to exist, by which are ultimately destroyed. Probably that must have been the reason when he drafted the universal prayer. He said, O Lord of the universe, creator, protector, and destroyer of the world. He wanted all of us to understand that. Creator, protector, and destroyer. Not one aspect. Three aspects are contained in one. Oh, it's already. So the rest of the portion we can take. Anyway, what is the take-home message?
Going to the source.
Going to the source. Going to the source.
Going to the root, going to the root, going to the root. Only by going to the root, we will be able to. Only by going to the root. So now, when he was thoroughly convinced, we take it like that. When he was thoroughly convinced that we can all understand this language, he is introducing us this now. Earlier, he did not bring this. Now, for the past 15, 20 days or 1 month, especially he made us, if we remember right, how the process started. He made us to go to Calcutta, made us to go deep into Bhagavad Gita. Then he made us to bring out unearth, which are the stanzas which talks about root, Bijamam Sarvabhutanam. So when he made us to unearth those, then he said, I have already told this, you go to this particular portion. And that is how, now it is becoming clearer and clearer that while we chant Ram Nam, we should have all these in our mind. Anything else? Take home message. Everybody is clear about it?
Creator, protector and destroyer.
Yeah?
Creator, protector and destroyer.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Chant. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. We hope and pray that we are given sufficient prompting from inside to contemplate upon these thoughts. We have to do a lot of manana. Whatever we have heard, pray for his blessings to move forward. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram.